Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast.
Kitty, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for driving all the way out here from Lanseria town
Appreciate it.
at 7 o'clock at night
Yeah.
against traffic. Can't have been easy.
No.
How long did it take you to get here?
Probably about 45 minutes, I would say.
Okay, that's not too bad for
Not
traffic. It's just down the track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Did you fly today?
I did not fly today. I did operations today.
You did operations today. Very interesting. I'm only going to hear more about that. So you're working in ops as well.
Yeah, so I started ops about 6 years ago, right out of my CPL.
Yeah.
I applied at all the companies, and a family friend said, why don't you submit your CV to this company
It's a good way to
at
do it.
Syria? And they took me on, and it's been a journey from then. I've learned a lot of stuff from that time.
Yeah.
But over that time, it's been difficult building the hours, etc. Through COVID, etc.
Yeah,
No.
COVID
But now,
was intense.
Getting the flying going. It's
Yeah, I
nice.
see so.
Yeah.
People listening to this may or may not be familiar with Kelly Jane McCauley.
You said it right.
Of TikTok fame
Yeah.
and Instagram fame.
Yeah.
But Kelly, thanks for, like I said, coming out to just be on the show and share your
Appreciate it.
story, which I think is definitely an interesting one. We know aviation has its struggles, and a large reason why we did this podcast is to help people looking getting into aviation to kind of
Absolutely.
make that path easier from learning from other people's journeys.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
everybody's journey is so personal, so unique, and there are always struggles along the way.
Absolutely.
Like any flight, there's always headwinds,
Yeah.
but with some good pre-flight planning,
Yeah.
you can help mitigate that.
That's
And that's
it.
what you're trying to achieve here.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, how long have you been in aviation?
I would say probably from when I was a little girl. I don't remember the age, but my father was in aviation as a PPL.
Okay.
He was strongly interested in aerobatics. So he had a skybolt, and I would go along with him, as a little girl and do aerobatics. And I was seriously interested in that stuff. And over the years, he started building aircraft. He's well known, or was well known for that. And he just supported all his children for, aviation careers. Unfortunately, I had siblings that all moved overseas, Singapore, England, etc. However, I was left in South Africa, and it was the next step for me. I was in graphic design, but then that was like an ultimate dream for me. So I pursued that.
So you always wanted to be in aviation.
Absolutely.
You said your dad used to build aircraft. Tell us a bit
Absolutely,
more
yes.
about it. Who is the man of mystery?
Okay, so my dad's name is Michael McCauley. He did his PPL from probably 16 years old. He's a precision engineer. He loves engineering, etc. But over time, he built aircrafts like Skybolts, Super Cubs, Papa Super Cubs, Citarbia, which I still own now. But yeah, he absolutely loved it.
And the bug bits with you, and how many siblings in the house?
So there's 4.
And all of them had a bit of a taste of aviation, I would imagine.
Absolutely. My older brother got his PPL. My other 2 siblings got their student pilot's license. And then it was me. I just pushed it for the CPL just to prove to, the world that anyone can do it.
Why the venture out into graphic design before ultimately following a passion?
If I can say, I did go overseas to England for about 6 months just to find my calling, etc. And
6 months in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
How was that?
it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Although looking after grandma is not so fun.
No.
But yeah, so I went overseas for 6 months just to find my calling. And then my dad said, you make your choice. When I came back to South Africa, I said, graphic design, because I love art. Art is
Okay.
my favorite thing. So I got into that. And I think from there, from graphic design, I did like a freelance graphic design for aviation companies, like Comet Aviation, etc., as well as the airplane factory, which is Sling now.
Yeah.
So from there, I just built an imagination for flying.
It's quite a niche market to get in there. What kind of work were you doing for them in terms of graphic design? What did you do?
It was more advertising, pamphlets, logos, especially the slings. That was like a pride and joy, getting your logo on the tail, and that's going around the world. And
So the Sling logo was your baby.
Yeah, I loved it.
Wow, that's amazing, because that's something that, like you rightly say, has gone all over the world.
Yeah.
They're literally flown. I mean, like, they're very popular in the States.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
your contribution to aviation is there for the world to see.
I think that was my stepping stone.
Yeah. And then after that, I suppose, when did you decide to put the, easel down, its art, to taking the plunge into aviation?
So,
what was the moment you decided this is for you?
I'll tell you the moment. I was actually sitting at the airplane factory doing my graphic design, and there was a new owner of a Sling 2, and he had to get 50 hours on his engine. So he came through to me and he said, would you be interested in doing training on a Sling 2? And I said, yeah, I'll go ahead. He said, it only costs R650 an hour. And I was like, that's the cheapest PPL I ever get. So I went for it, and we went to Springs, and the aircraft was on a flight school ATO. And from then on, just bit me.
So you did your PPL on the Sling, eh? How long
initially, I did it on a 150.
Yeah. I
got my first solo on a 150.
Good airplane to get it on.
Yeah, Zulu Sierra Mike Alpha Victor, Maverick. So, but after that, I went overseas, etc. But the Sling 2 was the next stepping stone for me.
So you do your PPL, or you go solo, or you did your PPL, went overseas, and then came back?
Yes.
And it's crunch time for the comm. When did you start your comm?
I would say probably about 2017, and I pretty much buried my head in the books. I would say an 8 to 5 schedule. I woke up early in the morning, did some exercise, and put my head in the books and just plowed through them. Like, I loved my comm exams, etc., as well as the hours. But for me, it was more important to get the exams out of the way, and then have fun with the flying.
Not get caught in the trap where you get caught in the fun, and then next thing, our building's up and you've got like 3 subjects.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a trap that's caught everyone. And where did you do your training?
So initially it was ATA at Springs, and then I moved to CFA for the comm, as well as the night and instrument flying.
Why the move?
I would say because I lived in south of Joburg, it was better for me to transport to Rand Airport rather than Springs. So it took me like 20 minutes to Rand. Way easier.
100%. And would you say the best part of that experience was during your comm?
Best part of my comm license, I would probably say planning for nav flights.
Okay, that's
I took
different,
a lot of enjoyment of checking weather, doing the flight logs, making sure everything is in order, making sure my phone, my iPad was charged, cheating, doing navs. But I took a lot of enjoyment in that, the short navs and the long navs. Please excuse me. But there is one thing that I did struggle with in my comm license was my radio.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, so there's a reason why I was born normal. My mom is deaf. Okay, so naturally I'm a lip reader. I don't listen very well. So all through my years, I can talk to people and lip read rather than listen. So through my comm license, going to Lanseria, going to, Durban, King Sharka, and just experiencing like what the radios are, what they're doing out there. And I'm like, I have no idea what
Can get a bit overwhelming, hey?
So that was interesting as well.
Okay. So radio.
Radio was my biggest pet peeve.
And you say the best thing about it was just the nav planning.
Yeah, com license, I would say the exams. I really enjoyed it. In high school, I didn't struggle, but I just didn't find any enjoyment in any other subjects except for history, obviously. But aviation subjects was just like, I loved it. I delved into those things. I researched anything and everything, got through it. It was fun.
I suppose I was very much the same in school. I found school not terribly interesting. I never
Yeah.
kind of saw the application of what I was going to do, moving forward. I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
But at the time in school, you got to pick your subjects very carefully to make sure
absolutely.
that it's otherwise you're doing a lot of studying for really nothing in your mind. It can get quite
Absolutely.
boring. But the same thing for me when I started studying for my exams, I could see how it was applicable. I could see the value of that knowledge and why
Yeah,
learning to understand is so important because you
Absolutely.
really draw on so much of that information, form such
Absolutely.
a strong foundation. And
sure.
if you haven't put the time in to kind of process and digest it, almost you're missing such a fundamental building block in your knowledge when you actually get out into the big wide world as
Absolutely.
you have seen. So yeah, I found that quite interesting that so many people are quite similar
Absolutely.
in aviation.
I think there's more than you know
Yeah.
in the industry with it, with the same comparable.
Yeah. Very similar personality types,
Absolutely.
right? So Kelly, you finished your exams and multi-IF, I suppose you did your multi-initial
Yes.
IF.
Yeah.
Okay, how was that?
It was interesting. I'll tell you about my first experience as my com license, getting the initial license. So we did the sim. That was fine. It was perfect. Get into the plane. It was a twin Comanche, flying from Rand to Paris, etc.
A Comanche.
Oh,
Woohoo.
it's a stunner. I love it still. So on departure out of Rand, I had a weird experience, but it's unusual for me. You never have that in your training life. But on departure, I had a bird strike on the windscreen, and just that gave me such a fright. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But yeah, no, that was a fantastic experience, I would say.
And during your training, who would you say was the instructor that probably had the biggest impact on you?
I would say probably the person that I'm working with now is Stan Null. He's the
Okay.
biggest impact.
Why?
He's got a wealth of knowledge. He's got about, I would say, 12,000 hours doing charters alone. He's had 43 years experience in charter world. So it's a great position to be there and chatting to him every day and learning from him. It's such a great experience.
So you consider him a mentor.
Absolutely, for sure.
And how did that experience in the charter world pass onto your training experience?
I would say, I don't know. Cut.
It's okay to not know.
Yeah. So, how would he? I would just say, just the knowledge behind what he says is just incredible, and you go to do a new rating, and you take on what he has said to you, in a sense, and you just, yeah, it's incredible what he does.
Is it his style?
I would say
Or
his
how he
style.
approaches-
He's always erring on the safe side, which is great. I mean, like, say, if you're planning to do a flight, check the weather first. Are you safe? Are you single cruise, a single engine, pilot? Can you go into that sort of weather? MSAs, you got to check your MSAs. You don't want to be crashing into cumulus granatus. So,
No one ever flies
things
through
like
those.
that. Fueling as well, like going to, and he tests you, like he tells you, okay, we're going from A to B, and if you run out of fuel halfway, where are you going to go? That kind of thing. He makes you think. which is
Always
great.
have a contingency plan, like any
Absolutely.
good mentor would.
Absolutely.
So you finished your comm. When did you finish your comm? You said so. You started 2017,
2019, eh?
2019.
Yeah, a while back.
What a year to finish it. Eh?
Absolutely.
Jeepers, things got very exciting shortly after that.
Absolutely.
So you finish your comm, multi-engine.
Yeah.
Now you're probably sitting with the same dilemma many people at that level sat with. I've got a comm now. I'm going to send my CV into commie. Probably not going to hear back.
Yeah.
How did you bridge the gap from I need experience to get a job, but I need a job to get the experience?
So I would say, to close the gap from becoming a commercial pilot to getting to the charter world or, airlines, etc. There are many ways of getting there. You can get your instructors, etc. Build your hours. My main thing is you need to build hours. So if someone says, jump on this aircraft, say yes, and you'll learn about it later. At any opportunity, jump on and go, get those hours. Insurance requirements are very high, and it's very difficult to move on to the next rating or next aircraft. And you just, for me, I always jumped on when there was a test flight. And because Stan Noel is an instructor, I would clock those hours, So that was interesting for me. But I would say for other people, joining the aviation industry through a commercial sense, I would say get your highest rating, like a King Air rating. And I promise you, if you sit and you wait for it and you jump on those, those little hops to Lanseria Brits, you'll build those hours and you'll get there.
So just have that attitude of just say yes.
Absolutely, always.
How did you get your first break once you'd finished your comm?
So initially I applied at a charter company. I started out in ops, and they offered the opportunity to fly the 210s, 402 King Airs. However, it took time to build because of the insurance requirements. But over the time, I just jumped on, every MPI, every test flight, every, I would say, PPC flight, proficiency, prof check. I would just jump on board and get those hours and build.
This was during your time in ops with this company,
Yeah. Yeah.
So they allowed you to kind of,
Yeah.
during your office hours, go get an hour here, go get an
Every
hour
now
there.
and then.
But how many hours did you build kind of doing that?
So I'd say the first few years it wasn't a lot. I would say probably about 50 hours per year. But as time built on and new people started coming into operations, they started moving, crew along, and you'd be next in line for that aircraft. So for me, it was the 210, and that was my building block. So yeah.
The 210 was the first break.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much time did you get on that 210?
Right now, I'm sitting on 220 roughly.
So you're still flying it?
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite machine.
Yeah, everybody loves that. Everyone has the airplane. Like any airplane.
Absolutely.
You don't respect it, it will catch you.
No, absolutely.
So you started on the 210, flying whenever you could, suppose. And then did they offer you full-time position as a charter pilot, or where to from there? Or did you keep working ops?
So I am still in ops at this stage. So as and when, if a flight comes in and the opportunity arises, they allow me to go on board. But on the every other day, I have to do ops. But I would say it's not a bad thing being in ops. A lot of people think you're wasting your time. You're not. You're getting a lot of information from CIA regulations, your FTPs. You understand all the aircrafts that are on the AOC, and it's incredible what you go through. And I would send a message to everyone, say it's worth it. It's not a bad position to be in.
You're not going to sit there in ops forever. I think that's like what a lot of people worry about. They're going to sit in ops forever. They're not going to fly. They're going to watch the world kind of pass them by. What about those people that are say, hesitant to go into ops and sit there and do the hard ground like you've done? Would you say, while watching their friends perhaps get other opportunities, also comparing themselves to other, what advice would you have for those people?
I would say it's a very competitive market and everyone's trying to take your position, but, stand your ground and be your own person. And someone said something to me which sticks with me, and it says, make a plan. If it's not working for you, leave. That's it. Make a plan.
Yeah, I suppose it's that simple, eh?
Yeah.
A lot of
Absolutely.
people often feel like they don't want to leave. They've made it to this job. I've got something. It pays. I'm comfortable here.
Yeah.
Almost become too scared to leave in a way.
I would say I would agree with that. It does happen. But at the end of the day, at the end of the road, you're going to see the light. You're going to get those opportunities and you won't regret it.
So, Katie, you're flying the 210. What other aircraft are you currently operating?
Okay, so as an AOC
Oh, just
or
you yourself.
personally? Okay,
Because I
so
see you on TikTok. You're operating all kinds of things.
yeah, so I'm on the 210. I'm rated on the 402. It's an insurance requirement to get 1,000 hours, so I'm working towards that to be PRC. And then just recently got a King Air rating as well, which I'm working towards.
Very nice. So, you're flying both single crew and multi crew.
Yes.
What's a typical life of a single crew charter pilot like? You're going out on a charter to, I suppose, give me a typical charter, what you'd go through in terms of planning,
Sure.
how you handle the packs, what kind of passengers do you normally fly? Because it's a heck of a thing flying a light aircraft, specifically in South Africa, South African summers. You've got weather, you've got
Absolutely,
different
yeah.
operating environments, even the winter. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw you going to St. Francis the other day. It's absolutely
It's
freezing.
wild. Eh?
Yeah, the coast gets wild properly. So just
Absolutely.
run us through like a typical day for you, some of the challenges that you find as a single pilot operation in the charter environment and how you overcome those. Because I imagine it's an immensely confidence building thing.
Absolutely. I'd say the challenges that you get, as a single crew, you've got no one to work with you. You've got to do all your planning. You've got to check your weather. You've got to chat to the passengers, make sure they are happy. You've got to carry or lug luggage around. It's insane, but it definitely is a confidence builder in a sense. There are certain challenges in a sense of, say, if you're going to international countries, there's a language barrier sometimes with, the passengers as well as the customs and immigrations.
You're handling this all by yourself. Without any
Yeah.
support, eh?
It's very interesting, but, it's so much fun. And you meet new people. It's incredible. It's so much fun.
What would you say has been the most challenging experience you've had in single pilot operations? What was that then like?
Okay, it was on my favorite aircraft, the 210, and then notorious for this.